Good evening. This is Debbie Davis. It is July 17th, 2025. Okay, so I did a video about the Masons yesterday, and I'm still reading more of this book, but I did some more research on some. Basically, I was picking up on some patterns. I've been picking up on some patterns that these storms have been taking ever since the 2023, where the storms, it went like a whole pattern of storm went this way, and then the next time it went this way, and then there's in the middle, like I said, there's that Kerrville, and I've been noticing the pattern that these storms are taking. It seems to okay, well, and also all of the storms, really. I noticed that all the major areas that are getting hit have Masonic temples. Okay, so I mean, yeah, and even in other countries too, like Ontario, Canada, got hit. That's with a bunch of storms in 2024. There's a whole ton of Masonic temples in Ontario, Canada. Just recently here, the storms, the flooding that's taking place, like New Jersey got hit. There's a lot of Masonic lodges in New Jersey. There's this one Masonic lodge, and it's and it was the same area that the drones were seen. Okay, so the drones were near Wharton, New Jersey, I believe. Wharton was the town. And then I did some research on Masonic lodges in that area, and there was like this big sinkhole that showed up in Wharton, New Jersey, and to me that I was like, you don't really have a sinkhole unless you have some kind of a tunnel underneath that caved in. Okay, so then I was, and that, to me, that's a sign of some kind of trafficking when you have tunnels. Okay, so I was doing some research in that area, and then I saw this big Arcadia Masonic temple in that area, and it's one of the Arcadia Masons are one of the oldest. Like they're one of the oldest. They have some, it was kind of interesting what I found when I looked up the Arcadia temple, because it's apparently one of the oldest temples. Okay, so it's probably been around for a long time, and so I noticed that at the time when the drones were happening in the New Jersey area, that there was a lot of Masonic temples, and especially that Arcadia temple around near that where that was happening. And I was speaking to some military people about it, and then like the very couple days later, like the drones disappeared, like maybe because we called them out on it. I guess, I mean, and then I'm noticing the same thing about these storms in 2024, the pattern of storms. Okay, so like there was one tornado that hit Crossville, Tennessee. There's a big Masonic temple there. It hit all along Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Indiana. And when I was looking at the specific towns, this was in 2023 and 2024. There was a city, the tornadoes hit certain cities, right? And as I was doing this research, I noticed that every single city that was hit had a Masonic temple. Okay, so I mean, you call this coincidence, however, whatever you want, but I'm saying this is the pattern that I'm noticing with these storms. Okay, so I noticed that last year, like I said, over the Passover time, it was like the eclipse and the Passover time when all these things, both years. Okay. And so, and then I'm doing some research on this Kerrville, Texas, because then then I was trying to figure out, okay, so what is, because the center is this Kerrville, which just had this horrible flood, and and then there is a Masonic lodge there in Kerrville, and I had never heard of Kerrville, so then I looked up where Kerrville was located, and it's located just northeast of San Antonio. Well, San Antonio is where I lived in that trailer park where I was having all those problems. So now, and I had, weird problems, like it probably was witchcraft. And now that I understand how close that there's a bunch of witches that are witches that are from that area. So now I'm doing research here on this. So in Kerrville, there's a huge group they call themselves the Covenant of the Goddess. Okay, it is an international Wiccan organization. They have outreach members, and contacting them might provide leads or connections to covens in the Kerrville area. One listed contact is Lord Golden Oak in Kerrville, Texas. Okay, and it says there's metaphysical shops there, regional gatherings. Okay. Okay. And the COG group is one of the oldest Wiccan groups. It says there are currently over 300,000 Wiccans in the United States, which means that COG will have to grow at a continual steady pace in hopes to effectively surge religious witchcraft as a whole. Of all the Wiccan-oriented groups, I think COG is the best place to achieve this goal. Okay, so they're always trying to recruit people and grow their group. Okay. COG's historic past, who's who of famous members in the past: Margaret Adler, Starhawk, Diana Paxton, Isaac Bonewitz, and more. They fund Cherry Hill Seminary, pagan learning institution that you can get your divinity and pagan pastoral counseling. It's just like, I had never heard of this. Okay, it says Covenant of the Goddess is vital to Wicca's future. It's one of the oldest Wicca groups. Okay, so it's probably one of the biggest, and that's what we have in Kerrville. Covenant of the Goddess is one of the oldest and largest credentialing body for Wicca and witchcraft in the United States. Founded in 1975 by 13 original member covens. The organization today boasts 121 member covens. And who knows how many people are in each coven. There's covens in every major city. Okay. Covenant of the Goddess is a cross-traditional Wiccan group of solitary Wiccan practitioners and over 100 affiliated covens, so in order to increase cooperation among witches and to secure for witches and covens the legal protection enjoyed by members of their religions. Okay, I had no idea that this type of thing even existed, but this gives you an idea now of, and I had a feeling it had to do with witchcraft. And then that camp was called Camp Mystic. I don't know. It might have been a Wicca-owned, campground. I'm sure that probably the families didn't know that, but it probably was owned by this organization. And that's my guess. So I had a feeling it had something to do with witches because people highly have underestimated, like I said, the level of evil of the witches and the witchcraft and how prominent it has gotten and what it's grown to. It is way more dangerous than what people think, and they know their craft really well. I've had witchcraft after me multiple times. And I mean, they'll take your piece of hair, they'll try to take a piece of your hair if they can, and they'll do witchcraft on you from your hair. If you have your brush or something around, I mean, I've had these witches do these type of things to me, and it's dangerous, and it's real. It's black magic, voodoo, the whole thing, and so anyway, that's what I found out there. So I mean, we're definitely, I've had a feeling that it has something to do with the witches because of what I mean, I've know this because of certain things that have happened to me personally, of how evil these witches are. I know how evil they are, and I had a feeling that it had something to do with that, and now I guess I'm getting confirmation that the center, the cross center of these storms is the hugest witch coven, cog. Okay, so this tells you how powerful and how dangerous these witches are. So to me, that was pretty much confirmation. Okay, so you can do your own research on the cities that were hit along these storms, and it seemed to me when I was researching it looked like every single town had a Masonic lodge. I mean, I know the Masonic lodges are everywhere, but it just happened to be that literally like every single town that I saw that got hit by the tornadoes had a Masonic lodge. So I feel like this is God trying to wake up the Masons, or a judgment, a divine judgment. I personally do think that that is what it is. Of course, these people that are already deceived and can't see the truth, who knows what they're going to think. Okay. So